before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with the one and only Victor Gax, and this time to bring you the grand finals of Asphalt 9 Legends.
Yeah, that's right, AJ. We've got lots of racing action here today, and I can't wait to see, just like we've been building up to this all month long, and finally we are here. It is going to be grand finals for both Android and iOS, and I just really want to see the best of the best racing against each other here live for us.
I mean, the one thing that I'm definitely looking forward to are those takedowns, because prior to this, it was all time attack, right? So you go in there, you're racing all alone, nobody's behind you to take you down, nobody's behind you to just keep the pressure on you at all times, because, you know, pressure like that forces you to make some mistakes that, you know, not many drivers can recover from.
True, and this game is all about consistency, right? You
Yes.
don't want to be making those mistakes. You want to be taking the best possible line through all these tracks, and now they're going to be actually physically competing with someone else. Now there's going to be a bit of tactics and strategy you're going to have to play during the race, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys are going to play it out, because I can't wait. Like, there's going to be lots of things these guys can try. There's going to be lots of moves that I'm pretty sure that we're going to be seeing live here. So let's see how it's going to play out.
All right, let's take a quick look at the qualified players, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and see exactly who will be racing in here today. For Android Asia, you have got Yuda 17, ESL Gimmick, IDL Top Copy, as well as RPM Choco.
Yeah, and for the iOS crowd, we've got Zenith, Anonyx, the sound of hydrogen, and Extreme. And yes, that's exactly what that means in Japanese. So the sound of hydrogen coming in here together with Zenith and Anonyx. So this is a very stacked grid here, I gotta say. We've been seeing Anonyx and Top Copy literally lighting up the charts during the time attack segments, and then now finally we're going to be seeing them actually fighting against each other.
Absolutely, man. I mean, Gimmick has been in there and he's made quite a name for himself so far. Let's take a quick look at the brackets, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and see if or not it will be the names that we usually see on our highlights, or will it be an absolute underdog that takes the trophy in here today? Because this is the brackets for the day. Semi-finals, you will have IDL Top Copy going up against Yuda's 17, and then you will have ASL Gimmick going up against RPM Choco. And the winners of that match will go on to the grand finals, Victor.
Yeah, indeed. And as for those who actually lose out in the semifinals, they still have one more chance, you know, at glory at least, because there's a third placer match for the losers of both semifinals. So that can still be a very competitive place, because again, it's going to be their last chance to actually earn a cut of the prize pool. And you know, even though it's going to be third place, you still want to be ahead of your opponent.
No, absolutely no doubts about that at all. And you know, this is one of the very first Asphalt 9 Legends competition here in the Asian region. And you know what most of these players are looking for is just the pride of being at the very top of the game after investing months and months into just literally one of the tracks, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of time investment you have to do really in the game like this, because you know, to be able to get that consistent requires lots of practice, and For that, I mean, I have no doubt that these guys have already poured in hours of their lives, just really trying to practice these 3 different interesting regions, I have to say, because we're going through the Himalayas, then on to Shanghai and to Osaka. So these 3 really provides a blend of different environments here that these certainly bring a challenge to these guys.
Okay, so this is your schedule for today. Top Kopi will take on Yuda 17. That kicks off immediately right after this. And then, of course, ASL Gimmick will meet RPM Choco. We will play off the semi-final 1 versus the basically the losers of the first 2 matches will meet up first before, of course, we decide who is the champion of the day for the side of iOS.
Yeah, and the first match we're going to be seeing will be IDL Top Kopi versus Yuda 17. Like Top Kopi, we've been seeing him consistently being on top of the leaderboards when it comes to the time attacks.
Yep.
Now he's going to be actually facing a real opponent here. So again, I can only imagine the kind of pressure that must be in his mind, going to this, because frankly, I think he will be definitely very, very fast right out the bat. I think the first thing that a lot of these drivers will be worried about is that going to that first turn, whether they want to try to go for that risky, like first turn maneuver, or they want to try to play it safe a little bit and hopefully try to make up the difference, later on in the race.
Yeah, and what makes Asphalt 9 Legends so difficult is you don't really get to cut back. Each and every single millisecond that you lose off on that track with the decisions that you make will kind of affect the final results of the day, and that's something that they cannot, afford at all. And not only have you need to be on the top of your game, you also need to make sure that you do not get pressured into making any sort of mistakes whatsoever. And we're not just talking about crashes. We're talking about the slightest of chip, that you will meet basically, against one of the vehicles on the road or by the barricade at the side of the road. And if it knocks down your speed by just a little bit, Victor, it can change the outcome of the race.
The way I always like to look at it is like it never becomes the end of the world. Let's say if you just maybe have like a little bit of a tap on the wall here, or maybe you missed your perfect nitro at this part here. Sometimes you just have to be able to mitigate. You have to like try to take a slightly longer line maybe, but that you're carrying still a lot of speed through it. So there's a lot of different factors here that's going to be in play. So I think like probably the smarter kind of players will probably try to take a much safer line. And what I mean by this is like lines that don't require a lot of moves, or lines that you'll be able to hit at least some sort of consistent time with it. And then if needed, you'll still have something in your toolkit in order to try to gain an extra couple of milliseconds here, or maybe a couple of seconds there. And eventually all of those will add up, especially over the course of a race. And given that most of these guys will be running 2 laps, so and generally most of these runs here, so we're going to be seeing some variation, I hope, between the driving styles of each of these guys, and also maybe the decisions in which line they want to take.
Absolutely, no doubt about that at all, right? Because and we are still waiting for the start of our first match between Top Copy as well as Yoda 17, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They just haven't jumped into the lobby just yet, so we'll give them a little bit of time whilst Victor and I catch up a little bit. We haven't met each other in quite a while now. And here's the thing, right, Victor? To add on to what you were saying earlier, I totally lost the line of thought that I had. I was just about to catch on to that.
See, if you forget which line you're going to take in a race, that's why you lose.
The line. Speaking of the line that you take in the race, right? The game has been around for quite a while, and Asphalt 9 Legends has got quite a strong community built around it.
Yes.
And these guys are all gamer buffs who just sit down to figure out what is the fastest way to take each and every single one of these tracks. And what makes the game even so much more difficult at this sort of a tier is all of these guys almost play the exact same run each and every single time. We have seen the time attack.
Yeah.
And this is where things get so difficult. Because if you bring that exact same run into a matchup like this, a duel between 2 players, and you want to take the exact same run and the exact same spins and match up to around the exact same time, your cars are going to be really close to each other, enabling the takedown as well, which is what makes this grind finals just that so much more sweeter, Victor.
Yeah, indeed. And it reminds me of like it's a grand tradition of like speed running. You
Yeah.
know, speedrun communities. You know, there's always that world record. You know, that world record run, the most perfect run that you can do.
Yes.
And everyone's job is basically to try to replicate that as closely as they can.
Yeah.
So essentially, in all these tracks, they will all have like this. There's always going to be one perfect line, but where you can hit it consistently every single match, that's a whole other question altogether.
Absolutely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately, we have to be the bearer of bad news. Bad news for whom? I'm not too sure. Maybe for the one in concern here. Yoda 17 has not been able to jump into the lobby. We've been waiting for quite a while now, and unfortunately, he will be forfeiting this round, which means Top Copy will get a victory by default, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, you know what they say sometimes, like the fights, you only win the fights that you show up to. So unfortunately, for Yuda 17, he's gonna have to show up for another fight here.
Yeah, you
but,
gotta sleep through this one.
Yeah, so I mean, good for Top Kopi though. He's already
Yeah.
through into the grand finals,
Yeah.
so he's got one less thing already to check off on his boxes there.
Yep.
So now he can fully focus on the grand final run, and perhaps this is really good news for him. You know, who knows?
Absolutely. I mean, Top Copy has truly been on top of the leaderboard for quite a while now. Not many have been able to take him down. ASL Gimmick is the player who will be in our second matchup in here today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and he'll be taking on RPM Choco. Now, Gimmick has also been a true superstar, if you ask me, Victor, in terms of, managing to tackle those times on those time attack modes, right? And he has been able to impress us in here so far, but will he be able to overcome his opponent today?
Well, that remains to be seen, isn't it? I mean, we can speculate all we like, but at the end of the day, all of these guys, they've at least proven that they're fast.
Yeah.
You know, we know from their lap times, we know from like the way they're taking their lines that they're actually really good. So now it's really the time to prove themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to show off how really consistent they are, especially when live. Because
Yeah.
here in the live in time runs, you can take as many chances as you want, but here is where that one round is going to matter. So here we go. There's going to be side by side now. ASL and RPM Choco. Choco drawing very closely here. It's going to be a nice overtake that the Choco is able to pull off. So ASL Gimmick now is going to have to figure out a way to try to get over this line here. Let's see whether it's not it's going to be able to close that gap. He is still sticking close, and they are going to be mirroring each other's lines pretty much all throughout. Not taking that jump there. They're going to go for that golden nitro first. So hitting that shockwave will be able to keep themselves close to each other, but now ASL really needs to try to find a way to gain some more added advantage through this section here. Getting the wall run just right in order to be able to nail the barrel roll here. ASL Gimmick still able to stay close enough, but still not quite enough to overtake Choco here, as Choco now builds up a very strong lead and seems pretty set to end this lap in the lead.
Oh my goodness, what a lead here being taken by Choco. And I have never seen Gimmick, struggle this much in a race. Will he be able to make a comeback in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Because so far, so good. He has been able to keep his speed up, right? This is lap number 2, one final opportunity, but the distance is one that most racers would already give up on here.
Well, that's interesting. Choco didn't take the jump this time, so ASL Gimmick's able to close the gap now, so he's literally right up against the tail of this red Cayman GT4. So now the question is, can Choco at least keep himself cool, can keep the pressure that's building up behind him? So let's see whether or not he'll be able to do that. Nails down the nitro take there. Let's see the way there. Okay, Gimmick's taking the slightly closer. It's like, whoa, look at that overtake. What? Getting onto the ramp just before Choco is able to. And oh no! Choco crashed himself out. That's a huge mistake there from RPM Choco.
Oh,
That's
no!
Especially to nail that. Oh, and another mistake
The
again.
pressure! The
Yeah.
pressure will just catch up, Victor, and Gimmick has already won this. 2 crashes. There is no way in hell anybody will be able to catch up, especially when it is Gimmick right here in front of them.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? Gimmick won this by the sheer tenacity of keeping up with his opponent, not giving up no matter what, continuously closing that gap. There was one of those jumps that he could have taken. He didn't go in here for the barrel roll. He didn't even go in for the spin. He took it flat on just to close the gap. And that might have just thrown Choco off his game a little bit. Like, how is this guy still on my tail?
I know. That's the thing. Like going into that second lap, it seemed interesting why that Choco didn't go for the jump, whereas Gimmick did instead. We didn't quite see because I think it was a little bit of a freeze frame there. So I'm really curious about that because if Choco literally meant to do that, I wonder what his game plan was going to be at that point because he knows by conceding the jump, he's going to have a little bit less boost, perhaps a little bit less speed as well. Yeah. So I don't know. I would just say that this was literally Choco's race to lose here because he was in the lead for the longest time.
Yeah.
It was just one slight slip up, one mistake there, and ESL Gimmick, his run was super clean.
Yeah.
I mean, 0 mistakes, didn't even miss a single jump. Well done to him.
There's a small little disclaimer here, okay? No matter how we break this race down, no matter how we talk about what mistakes could have happened in here, trust me when I say these guys are at the echelons of Asphalt 9 legends at the moment. It is extremely difficult to replicate what they are doing at this level. And for Choco to choke, no pun intended, at that very last moment was just absolutely unfortunate. But there is another opportunity in here, Victor. Let's go.
Again, looks a little bit messy. Okay, still managed to nail the landing though, but that could have been really, really bad there for Gimmick if he wasn't able to complete that barrel roll. So Gimmick, unfortunately, is going to lose out right off the bat here, so he's going to have a lot of ground to catch up here. So RPM Choco, though, looks like it's a little bit desynced here, but it's fine. We're going to be able to see how ESL Gimmick's going to try and close it up. Yeah, instant replay there on that run, isn't it? Exactly. But Gimmick now able to pull a good line here. Managed to pick up the yellow boost, so it's just basically trying to manage that, trying to keep his average speed pretty high throughout this section. Goes for a little bit of a drift there because he wants to hit a bit of a shockwave, so that's going to help him close the gap a little bit, especially here. It's going to spend all his boost here, nails the jump, so he's going to head up and uses the boost here for the rest of the section before having to wait for the next turn.
I'm just trying to spot moments where Gimmick uses the wrong nitrous for the wrong moment, right? And from what I can see in here so far, Victor, perfection, absolute perfection coming in from Gimmick. And here's the problem. He is once again playing catch-up. This is going to be lap number 2. Are we going to be able to see Choco choke once again, ladies, German boys and girls? Because at the very moment, he is having a perfect run in front of Gimmick. And this was a gap that Gimmick managed to close with that failed jump from Choco earlier on. Choco does not seem to be making any of those mistakes now, Victor.
No, not at all, and neither is Gimmick here, so it's really going to come down to this here. Oh, that's a big hit there! Gimmick's just lost out completely! Look at that! Man, that is such a shame there. It looks like he might have clipped a little bit on the right-hand wall there, and that just unfortunately put him onto a straight trajectory into that wall.
And for right now, all Choco can hope for is for ESL Gimmick to just mess up one time. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, bringing you all of the highlights from the past weeks, from all of the time attacks from Asphalt 9 Legends, I can pretty much assure you that's gonna be close to impossible. Look at the nitrous management from Gimmick coming in here, Contra. Nobody can touch this guy right now.
Is Contra here? I didn't see him here in the studio today, but it's okay. It's all right for the mix-up there, but yeah, well done there to Gimmick yet again. Another flawless run for him, and I mean, Choco literally is choking. There's no way to kind of explain that, unfortunately. I mean, to be fair to him, like perhaps he didn't expect to be clipping the inside wall on that particular corner, but still, you should be able to drift at the end of that in order to avoid the next wall that comes out in front of you. So I literally can't explain it. It's literally a really bad mistake, and it's so unfortunate because that lost Choco this couple of rounds here.
My heart goes out to Choco. 2 rounds back to back. My man, you choked. And unfortunately, when you choke, ESL Gimmick is going to take that opportunity to rise up to the top, which is exactly what he's done. And I'm so sorry for accidentally thinking, dude, it was your fault. It was your fault for wearing Contra shirt to one of the recap shows. It was your fault.
But I'm not wearing a shirt right now. I can't see where the confusion lies.
I see the image of Contra in you, my man.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment, but
it is,
thank you.
It most definitely is. You guys trust me, right? But here's the thing. You Me, we having a good laugh. ASL Gimmick sure as hell is having a good laugh. Choco, on the other hand, ladies, German boys and girls, unfortunately, the guy needs to go in now and see if he can prove himself and play it off for that third spot. That's his best option right now because Gimmick has just moved on to the grand finals, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, just like that. And I mean, kudos to him. It was perfectly flawless for the Los Astos rounds. He didn't make a single mistake at all, and that's what you need to do. You know, that's how you're going to be winning those races here. Just making sure that you take your lines perfectly, that you do not miss your jumps, and that you manage your boost well. You don't run out of boost in the middle of your a straight. You know, all these kind of factors have to come together, and they have certainly done so for Gimmick here. So well done to him.
Yeah, and let's talk about nitrous management a little bit, right? And this is something that I'm very sure to the community that's watching this right now, who's trying to figure out, just like how I am, how are these guys even doing it? It's down to each and every single micro movement within that game. Whether it's wiggling and getting those mini drifts in to just build your nitrous up on those straight roads, which we didn't really see much on this map. There were those really short moments where we did see a little bit of wiggling to build up the nitrous, but as to the rest, it was all just pure management in terms of knowing exactly where those ramps were, constantly hitting those ramps for those barrel rolls as well as those flat spins, topping up those nitrous, managing it all through to the end. And I don't know for you guys, but I've personally tried it. Vic, I've personally tried this, Victor. I have ended the match close to like 100 times right now. No match have I ever been able to manage my nitrous. I always end up with an empty tank of nitrous like 10% into the game.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show, right? Like how much on another level these guys are.
Yes.
Right? But then again, you know, nitrous management, there's a lot of different facets to it because there's not just the part about, you know, canceling the boost with the drift button, but there's also the aspect of like knowing when to just go for that full send, you know?
Yeah.
Just hold down the nitrous button and just use up that exact kind of moment. Depends a lot on the track.
Yeah.
You need to have sections of the track where you know is going to be just basically a clear straight line. So you know that you pretty much have, if you know, have to apply a lot of boost throughout this section here, but you don't necessarily want to use it up too much. That's when you just decide which boost you want to use. Do you want to go for perfect boost, or even you can go for an imperfect boost sometimes because that will use less. So you always have to balance between how much boost you're using versus how much you actually need, and that's the key to boost management.
Absolutely. Now, let's take a quick look, ladies, German boys and girls. This is the playoff for the third spot in the competition. It is between Yuda17, hopefully the guy makes it this time around, against RPM Choco. Now, RPM Choco, he has choked twice already. This opportunity, on the other hand, I want this guy to win at least the third place because he deserves it, man. He truly deserves it, Victor.
Well, let's see if he's going to be able to get it this time. He is a little bit behind Yuda17 this time, though, so he's going to try to take a slightly in line here. So that's already closed up the gap somewhat against Yuda. So Yuda now is going to have to fight, you know, to take the racing line here. He's going to be able to stay just ahead of Choco after his jump. He nails the barrel roll, though, both of them. So they will be able to go down. Yuda does hit the perfect boost, so he is going to be a little bit ahead. Choco now is going to be able to use up maximum boost here. So let's see if he's going to be able to get a little bit past. Oh, goes for one more little turn there. Didn't quite make it, though. So Yuda17 still going to be able to stay ahead here. It's going to be pretty hard, you know, to try to build up a lot of speed on a track like this. But that's Himalayas for you. That's a lot of beautiful sceneries, but certainly not a lot of options when it comes to lines.
Oh, absolutely, man. And he nails yet another barrel, this time right on the tail of his opponent, ladies, German boys and girls. Yuda17 in the green car, and he does manage to pick up his line absolutely perfectly. Unfortunately, it will just be a quick nick as far as Choco is concerned in his speed, but he is catching up, Victor.
Oh yeah, okay, went for the jump.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Second. Yeah, it's really good because he's actually getting really up close. He's going to be taking different lines though. So it looks like Choco takes the right, whereas Yuda takes the left. Let's see if he's going to be able to catch up here. It's going really well so far. RB and Choco getting a shockwave boost. That's a lot of speed he's carrying though. Oh, Yuda! What happened? No, Yuda, what happened to you, man? It looked like it was going to work out so well, but he missed the jump.
No.
He's ended out of the clip. He had to reset his car. Is he going to end up behind Choco, though? At the end of this, looks like they're going to be meeting up very, very soon at the end of this corner here. Oh boy, bad there for Yuda, but Choco might just have a chance. It looks like they're both right neck to neck against each other here, but I can't quite see. Is Yuda ahead or is Choco ahead here? Doesn't seem like Yuda has been able to catch up though, as like Choco seems to be very, very far ahead.
Yeah, man, there's no way in hell Choco's gonna lose this because Yuda just pulled a Choco on Choco. And Choco now just needs to go and shockwave through to the finish, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and he takes it. And let's break down exactly what happened there, right? That was on lap number 2 that unfortunately Yuda had to choke. And Yuda didn't really choke because this, like I said, no matter how we break these games down, these guys are at the echelons of Asphalt 9 Legends at the moment, and the tricks that they are pulling off in the game are no easy tricks. Now, this was a jump. It was a flat spin jump. Okay, you can hit your 360 on it, which is what we saw Yuda do on the second round after he came back into the game.
Yeah.
Now, he had tried to force a barrel roll on a flat ramp. The first round through, both of them nailed that to perfection. They both went into a crazy barrel, they got their nitrous, and they continued on the race. And once Yuda missed that, there was just absolutely zero possibilities of making it into the match unless Choco chokes. But Choco, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, did not choke. And he got the win. Absolutely perfect run coming in from Choco this time around. He didn't make that mistake that he made against ASL Gimmick, and the guy's got to be happy about this.
Oh yeah, he's definitely really happy. And the thing is that, to Yuda's credit, it was a good idea to try to go for that jump because you could see that Choco was having the shockwaves boost.
Yeah.
He knew that with that, Choco was going to have a lot of speed through that section there, so he needed to try to at least fight him against that because they were both on different lanes. The problem is that trying to nail that barrel roll on a flat ramp is really hard. It's so difficult, even in the best of times. So the first lap, they were like consistent enough or they were lucky to be able to nail both barrels at the same time. But Yuda, that one time, didn't work out for him. If he didn't nail the barrel roll, there was, like you said, no way for him to be able to get to the next road because there was not enough speed he was carrying in order to make the jump.
Yeah, okay, see, here's the thing, right? Asphalt 9 Legends, high risk, high rewards.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier already as to how strong the community is. The community is always trying to look for the fastest runs on all of these laps, and that particular forced barrel roll is a very, very important jump. Right, for you to transition over from the leftmost ramp into the middle lane. And if you can nail that, that is when you can keep up to the perfect timing of that track.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, once again, high risk, high reward. Choco got the win, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But opportunity number 2 will present itself in a moment. Let's take a quick look and see if or not Yuda will be able to rise up to the top.
So that's a 3 here, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be round 2. Both cars going out at the same time. Yuda again is going to be ahead of Choco on this run here to the streets of Shanghai. So Yuda 17 now just needs to focus on keeping his line here, especially up this ramp. Both going for the flat spin. It seems to be holding very close here. Choco is actually mirroring Yuda's line here very, very well.
Okay, now let's see this nitrous. They popped the exact same perfect nitrous, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for that turn. Going to be pushing this, not taking any 360s on the flat spin, not even taking the barrel roll, because taking the left-hand side of the track is going to be better. Beautiful save coming in here, but very cheeky attempt by Choco there, Victor, for the takedown.
Yeah, that was a perfect block there, and even a shockwave boost nailed at the same time for both of the guys, so I don't know whether that was just quick reactions or was Yuda really, really lucky there, but whatever the case here, he's able to hold off Choco, so it looks like it's going to be a very close race. Look at that, Yuda 17 losing a bit of time there to Choco after that drift, but Choco now still not able to find a way past his man yet, so now is he going to be able to get it? He gets the boost and he gets a little bit ahead, and that's all he needs because now Choco is in the lead.
Oh, can Yuda now catch up? This looks like it's impossible, and he needs Choco to literally do a Choco. Will we see him choke, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? He nails that 360 up top on the flat spin. Gonna nail yet another one to make sure he will be able to keep this nitrous boost on that absolute perfect. He will go in for the single tap first and then that shockwave just to maintain. This is what we talk about, right? That nitrous boost maintenance to ensure you can race the whole track without dropping a little bit in speed at all.
Yeah, you really need to pick up those nitrous bottles because those refill your tank very, very consistently. So I think Yuda missing out on those first few bottles might have just cost him a lot of time in the first lap. So the second lap here, he's really struggling to try to keep up. Choco now has such a comfortable lead ahead of him so that I don't see any way Yuda will be able to get past without Choco making mistake here. And the thing is, he's right now on the final stretch. So if he can pull this off, this is going to be really good. They're taking slightly different line here as Yuda tries to get a lot more speed. He does it with a shockwave, but it's not fast enough. Choco comes across the line in first place, and with that, takes third overall here for our Android class.
Absolute perfection from Yuda, at least on lap number 1, right? He prevented the takedown by firing off his shockwave, and I don't even know how he did it. Because he didn't look like he had enough nitrous to blast off a shockwave.
Right.
And his nitrous bar filled up to that exact 1 millisecond where he forced it out. And that was the very moment where if he had not fired that shockwave to protect himself, he would have gotten taken down. And yes, you are granted the shockwave right after you come back into the race, but that's like a clean minimum 3 seconds gone.
Yeah, I mean, that was just perfect timing there. Like, literally, there's no other way about it. Yuda nailed that shockwave just at the right moment, prevented the takedown from happening, and was able to stay in the lead. Just unfortunate that at the end of that particular lap, he got overtaken in the end by Choco, but there was a way to run sometimes, you know? You just always have to take the opportunities that you can, and sometimes if you're in front, you have to defend. So Yuda defended well in that lap, but then Choco found the opportunity later on that lap and got the overtake done.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, congratulations to Choco for picking up the 3rd spot at the grand finals in here for the Asphalt 9 Legends. And we are still on the the Android category, yes?
Yes,
okay, the Android category, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Sorry, the mustachio woke up quite late today. I haven't had enough coffee in me to differentiate iOS and Android, but I'll fix that as we go on with the competition. And now we have got on the menu the grand finals of the day for the Android segment, Victor.
I mean, it's going to be, who is it? Top Gopi. Yep, he got a free through in the semifinals 1. So now it's going to be up against ESL Gimmick. So this is going to be really, really spicy because you know from the time attack runs that Top Gopi is very, very fast and very consistent. ESL Gimmick, we saw him battle in semifinals 2, and he was really good there. So this is going to be a real run, a real treat for you guys at home though, because it's literally going to be seeing the 2 best drivers right now in the Android class fighting against each other, and it's going to be a best of 5. So going to be a lot of tracks for these guys to run onto, and I can't wait to see who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I highly doubt we'll be able to predict what's going to happen on this match because we haven't been able to see Top Gopi perform in here today. I mean, as far as ASL Gimmick is concerned, he took his runs absolute perfection each and every single time, and he did not make those mistakes, which was made by Choco, which gave him the win 2 times round. Now, are we going to be able to see Top Gopi maintain those perfect runs without making those mistakes? And if he was to maintain those perfect runs, what is going to be the outcome in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? A back and forth, or just like what we've seen so far, flat out victories?
Well, I think another wrench is going to be thrown into works with these guys is that the best of 5 maps here, or I should say maps tracks technically, they're going to be different than the semifinals. Even though they are still in the 3 same regions, these are different layouts. So we're still going to be on, they're going to be starting off in Shanghai first, they're going to be going to Osaka, then to the Himalayas again, and then to Shanghai, and finally finishing off in Osaka. And they're all different ones. The Pearly Orient, the Moat Finale, that's a really hard one on the Osaka track.
Correct.
Mountain poles on Himalayas. So that's a really big jump there that I think you're going to be seeing a lot of potential for mistakes happening in that one.
Absolutely. we will see the forced barrel roll for sure on that map. So let's see if or not we find any oopsies on that one.
And then after that, Shen City and Shanghai and the Naniwa Tour. That's a really good choice actually for the last run there, because that can be a rather long, specific run there on the Osaka track.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's see if or not we do reach to map number 5 or track number 5, as Vitesse rightfully pointed out, because this is a best out of 5, and if we have any one of these races winning 3 of the races out of 5, they take a free run. They don't take a free run actually. They are your champions. And it will be Gimmick on the right-hand side, Top Copy on your left, nailing a beautiful 360 as his opponent.
Yeah, he's going to try to use that perfect boost again to try to close the gap here, but so far it looks like ASL Gimmick is able to hold the front there for quite a long time. So now Top Copy is really going to have to amp up the speed now in order to try to close that gap. So far so good. This section here is going to be pretty straight all throughout. So I'm not really expecting to see too much variation here between these two guys. Perhaps maybe going to be a little bit different in how to take the jumps and the approaches, but it seems to be really consistent between these two. Top Copy is literally mirroring whatever ASL Gimmick's able to do. So it looks like he's going to just continue this chase here and just hope that at some point that Gimmick misses a jump or a turn somewhere and he's able to capitalize on that mistake.
Yeah, and I would like the audience to definitely maintain a sharp eye onto the left-hand side of the street. And what you will notice is, in those previous races, when we saw Gimmick go up against Shoko and all, Gimmick was always able to increase the distance between him and his opponent consistently throughout the race. But in absolute contrast, Top Copy is able to keep up with his opponent very, very close. And that's all because of the way in for that imperfect burst of nitrous, blocks it out, stops, goes in for that burst of nitrous again. And this is the perfect exploit in Asphalt 9 Legends to use to your advantage, because the first very few fractions of seconds gives you the most amount of boost. You cancel it out, you fire it off again, and that's why Top Copy is able to maintain this sort of a distance with Gimmick. But the question is, can he capitalize on a mistake? Will Gimmick even make one?
Yeah, then so far they have not made one, either of them. So 5% level distance in this track here. It doesn't look like Top Copy has enough. Oh, he's going to hit the bus there. So unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for him to catch it up. Gimmick running a perfect run all throughout. Top Copy as well, but without any mistakes at all, Gimmick was still the faster man in this matchup.
If at all it was Gimmick that went right into that bus, we would see Top Copy winning match number 1. That's how close it was, and that's how crazy Asphalt 9 Legends is at this point, right?
Yeah.
Both players, both drivers, making close to 0 mistakes, both drivers maintaining the exact same line. The way they were going in and managing their nitrous, building it up, looked almost eerily similar, and that's a trait that you will notice amongst these top players. Once again, it all goes back to the strong community and a bunch of, gamer nerds who sit down and look for all of these things. And when I'm a gamer too, when I say gamer nerd, it's said in the most greatest of way, because it's these guys that actually help all of the rest of the community to find these best lines on those tracks, to find the best cars, to pick all of these wins and make the game even so much more fun as well as competitive. And just unfortunately for the likes of Top Copy, ASL Gimmick is not the kind to make a mistake at this level.
Yeah, and as you do actually, because on the grand final run, you want to make sure every single run is perfect, that everything goes your way. So, in the case of that specific map, though, it's like there was not a lot of really complicated corners.
Yeah.
So it was really more about managing your boost through a lot of these straight sections as well as nailing the jumps. So going to this next map, though, which is going to be the mode finale, this is going to be really interesting because the mode finale is very complex. There's a lot of complicated jumps to be made here. So the chances of any one of these guys making a mistake is pretty high, but the start is going to be very important here for both of these guys because they need to nail it well. So going for that second jump there. Oh, Gimmick's gone off! Gimmick's gone off the track, so Top Kobe might have an opportunity here because he's still on the track, he's still on the line, and is definitely ahead of ASL Gimmick now.
Oh, no, you do. I just said it. This is the Caster's curse, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I just said ASL Gimmick is not the kind of guy to make mistakes like this. And the first thing the guy does when he gets into the race is he goes out of bounds. And once you go out of bounds, it's not like, you get into a crash. There are a few milliseconds where you're just hovering in the air before your car is reset. And that's all it takes. Now he needs to literally hope and pray, that Top Copy does not remain on top and makes that mistake. Look for a bus to knock into, but unfortunately on this map, you're not really going to find those buses that much.
Not much of that, unfortunately. There's not a lot of traffic on this road here for Top Kopi even, so he's having a pretty clean run all the way through now. Let's see whether he's going to be making that same mistake though. Coming down this area, nails a jump, nails a drift. Okay, so far so good. Top Kopi nailing the wall run as well, so looks like he's pretty set to stay ahead. You can see how far the distance was between the two of them because Gimmick literally had to reset his car after going out of bounds like that. So that's a devastating mistake to make. Lost so much time there, and it's going to be nearly impossible to make up that if Top Kopi doesn't make a single mishap throughout his run.
What a great grand finals this is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because for sure it is going to be a back and forth match. Top Kopi gonna go in here and get that victory. He is so close, and he can already smell the checkered flag. Are we going to be able to see Gimmick catch up in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? He will not be able to unless Top Kopi makes a mistake, and he's already reaching the end of the race, which just brings down that probability so much more, Victor.
I mean, this thing, he's already seen the finish line, he's already through, and that is it. That's all he needed. Man, what a curse, isn't it? What a curse.
I'm sorry, Gimmick. Dude, I am so sorry, Gimmick. I am so sorry. Okay, you. I'm not laughing at your misfortune. I'm just laughing at just how the words, just intertwined with the sequence that just played out. All right, I was not expecting that, and I was definitely not expecting that at the start of the race. And that's one of the worst ways to kick anything off, right? To fly off the railings into oblivion and then get reset in life. Yeah, the resets are not good, man.
I just really wish we could see that in replay again because I really wanted to know what exactly Gimmick do wrong there because it seemed like he nailed the jump. Yeah. He managed to get exactly there. It's just, I think he might have either ground on the rail or something, or maybe he might have bounced off when he landed. Yeah. It looked like, but either case though, is like, that's a really, really rare mistake to have there for Gimmick, and it's just unfortunately happened in the start because, again, having a really good start is really important because you want to at least keep the gap between you and your opponent close. Yeah. And when you're forced to make a reset like that, it completely ruins your rhythm. Yeah. It's going to make it very hard for you to catch up. Like the gap that you have to kind of catch up between Gimmick and Copy there was really large. So I didn't see any way it's going to be able to close that gap unless Top Copy made a lot of mistakes throughout this run. So yeah, again, very unfortunate. But then again, it's only a second round. We still got at least 3 more tracks to run on here. So let's see how that goes.
Absolutely. Will Top Copy be hoping it? Dude, because at the moment, it really looks like that, right? ASL Gimmick, he needs to make a mistake in order for Top Copy to get any sort of advantage in here. Now, let's see exactly how this particular race will go as Gimmick takes a amazing... Oh, no. Top Copy is already going to lose this because Gimmick just...
What?
Oh, no!
What?
No, we Caster's girls once again.
I'm sorry. What happened there? I mean, it looked like Top Copy... That shouldn't happen. That should not have happened at all.
I'm sorry, Top Copy. There's no way in hell he's going to be able to catch up with Gimmick right now unless Gimmick not only makes a mistake but actually 2, right? Because he's just set back. Top Copy, it will literally be a miracle if he manages to get the W right now.
Wow, I really wish we had an instant replay on that because it just seemed like Top Copy made a jump. It looked clean, but all of a sudden he just hit something. I didn't even see what he hit actually, because that was just really confusing for me seeing that live there. But then again,
whoa.
Gimmick nailing that wall run there, picks up the yellow bottle, so he's having the run of his life here because now he's got such a huge gap ahead of Top Kopi now that this is literally his race to lose here. Like, I don't see any way that Top Kopi is going to be able to close up this gap unless he's able to pick up more boost bottles compared to ASL Gimmick in this next lap here. But I just really want to know what exactly did Top Kopi hit. So again, he's taking the same line that he did previously. Nails the landing here, gets up. Yep, he just nailed that. That one was perfect. I don't know what happened in the previous lap though, because the last time he did that, he literally hit something on the wall. I have no idea what it is.
So, unfortunately for both Gimmick as well as Top Kopi, they have both made the exact same mistake. The only difference on two different tracks. Earlier, when we saw Gimmick stick to the extreme right when he took that first jump, he literally bounced off the railings. That's most probably what happened. On a map like this, the probability of that happening, quite low. But with the rocky edges as you drop into the Himalayas, it truly is a huge risk. And you know, the one thing that I was impressed with even more is how ASL Gimmick hit that cave exit wall right barrel roll, which, my friend, should be illegal. Look at him, man. He hit that 360 flex at the end of that race, and this was one of the best runs by Gimmick ever in this competition. Compared to the qualifiers, the ladders up till today, it's one of his best runs. And I'll tell you why, right? We've got the cave. You know, that very small cave where if you take the right-hand side, you've got a flat ramp going up. And we have seen in the time attack, a lot of these players stick to the right-hand side of the cave so they can ride the wall a little bit. This guy, he went in, he launched himself, he rode on that wall, and he hit a not a 360, he hit a barrel roll on the exit of that wall ride.
Right.
That, my friend.
I love how that one moment was that it only lasted maybe like half a second, but that has just made you so mind blown.
You guys have no idea. And I say this with great conviction. Because, okay, let's talk about the mistake that Top Kopi did. Or we can't really call it a mistake. It really was not a mistake. It was more of a choice. And the choice was to force a barrel roll on that flat ramp at the start of the race. And that was the difference that we saw, right? Top Kopi took it flat. He did not go in for the roll. He did move on off of the flat ramp. But when we looked at ASL Gimmick, he hit that barrel roll twice. And being able to build up nitrous so early on in that race with that barrel roll is a huge game changer. But on top of that, the guy crashed as well, so GG, my friend. Unfortunately, we will have to go on to the next match to see if or not Top Kopi can make a comeback, or do we have a champion in ASL Gimmick?
Well, I'll tell you what we have right now. A big gap between Gimmick and Top Kopi right now. Gimmick is so far ahead here of Top Kopi that it's going to be kind of hard to catch up really rapidly here. So Top Kopi is going to have to really keep his boost management really well done here in order to try to make up that gap. But he's got to have to find good opportunities to fully utilize his boost here. Otherwise, he won't be able to close that gap at all. So Top Kopi now hitting the shockwave boost twice in a row there, trying to close in and onto Gimmick, but it seems to have not worked out too well yet because you can barely even see Gimmick on his horizon there, as Gimmick now running a very perfect jump there, as well as just not really using that much boost to begin with. Like, he's just literally maintaining his lead and making sure he's just using just barely enough here to stay ahead of Top Kopi.
Oh, Gimmick is just playing a totally different game here. This guy's a monster on the track. Unfortunately for Top Kopi, he's not going to be able to keep up. This is round number 2, lap 2 in here, and Gimmick, where is Top Kopi? Look at that map on the left-hand side. Where is Top Kopi? He is not going to be able to catch up. 0 chances, Victor.
Yeah, he can't even see Gimmick on his own screen right now, so that's how far the gap is really widen up between the two of them, and ASL Gimmick's just having a perfect time here. I mean, he doesn't even have to use up all his boost here. He just needs to just basically stay ahead right now, and all he needs to do is just build up that gap. So again, right now, Gimmick is really on the run here to try to win this, and if he does win this, though, he's going to win this series outright, and he does. He comes across the line first here, so by my calculations, that's 3-1 now, so Gimmick wins.
I give you your champion for the Android segment of Asphalt 9 Legends, the one and only amazing ASL Gimmick. Victor,
Yes?
that final run, we need Furum, the Furum of Asphalt 9 Legends, to sit in this room with us to explain to us how in the world did Gimmick win that match. Kopi didn't do much mistakes, okay? By all rights, I was watching Gimmick a little bit more. It was a split screen. I had to look somewhere, right? Gimmick was doing all to identify a few different things in there, right? Number one, the line that they took, similar. Number two, the tricks that they took off of all of those ramps, similar. Number three, the way they shot off all of their nitruses and, you know, in which moments they were used, similar. I could not catch anything.
Well, I mean, again, similarities are always going to be there, but sometimes when you look down at optimization, there will always be very, very minor differences. And at the end of the day, when all those minor differences add up, they add up to a lot of difference.
Yeah.
When you talk about the course of an entire race. So
Yeah.
I think for Gimmick specifically, I think what really worked for him, especially in that last round, he had a good start.
Yes.
So that's the reason that I think that was the key reason why he actually won out against Kopi there, because he got a much more faster start compared to Kopi. So when it came to the course of the race itself, he knew that as long as he can just maintain that gap or just at least like try to stretch it out a little bit, it's enough. He doesn't have to push absolutely hard. He knows that as long as he can just keep Kopi behind him the whole time, that he's going to be winning that race. So at the end of the day, it's all these kind of things be able to make a winning package, and in that sense, ASL Gimmick had the winningest package out of all the 4 drivers here.
No doubt at all, man. 2 of these series we've been able to see him come in and perform live for us. Unfortunately, not like all of those other recaps that we've been forced to watch, right? Those time attacks, they were boring. They were boring. I'm not gonna get this job anymore.
Oh man,
Season 2 is not for the mustache.
it's been good to know you.
Thank you, my man. Please pass us some sanitizers as well. Here's the thing, right? It has been an absolute pleasure casting here for all of these duels, because it just takes it up to another level, and the pressure that is set to all of these players, unfreaking real,
Yeah,
Victor.
it
And
is.
we have just crowned our first champion of the day, but there is one more that we need to crown out of this.
Yeah, I mean, that was all these races were on the Android platform.
Yeah.
We still have the iOS racers waiting for us after this, so I can't wait to be almost the same thing. You know, we're going to be running through the same 3 regions, the same level of tracks, the same format. So it's all going to be single elimination with a 3rd, 4th place decider. And on that one, though, it's all going to be on iOS only. So that's the only differential.
The better
Otherwise-
platform. I'm not supposed to say things like that, so I had to cough it up. Let's take a quick look at the brackets, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and see exactly who will be the players who will be... Okay, sorry, this is the brackets for Android. As you can see, top copy as he took on Yuda 17. It was a flat-out victory because Yuda fell asleep. He couldn't make it for that race. As Gimmick took on Choco, Choco choked literally on both of his matches, and we felt so upset on his behalf. And that led to Gimmick and Top Copy moving on to the grand finals. But in the race between Yuda 17 as well as Choco, Choco managed to shine through, Victor.
Yeah, that time he didn't choke, and that actually earned him 3rd place in this standings here, so well done to him. But really, the grand finals was where we saw a master class of a drive there from ASL Gimmick. Like, 0 mistakes, stayed ahead of Top Kobe the whole time, and was able to not only get good starts, but also get good runs, good boost management, and was frankly nailing every single run there. So well done to ESL Gimmick, a well-deserved victory here in the Android Asia class. So, well, I guess the only question now is like, where to from here? So, I suppose for Gimmick though, he's definitely feeling very comfortable on the top, but
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that soon we'll be seeing some new challengers to that
Yes.
crown. So let's see whether he'll be able to stay on top for long, if that was the case.
Absolutely, because you know what all of these players here are doing. They're not just fighting for the top spot. They're not just fighting for the grand finals as well as to be crowned champion. They are fighting for the community, and they will be inspiring all of the other Asphalt 9 Legends players as well as drivers out there to participate in the ESL Mobile Open as well, to see if or not they can stand a chance to grab a little bit of showtime for themselves, Victor.
Yeah, and I think especially for those who are just watching at home here, you know, this is really an opportunity for you guys to show us what you got. So you know, go ahead and sign up for the ladders, sign up for competitions like we got all the rule sets you need on the ESL website. So I guess what are you waiting for? Just go ahead, sign up, and let's see what you can bring to us here. And if you're good enough, you're going to be seeing yourself live here. And we're going to be casting it for you guys, so...
Exactly. Yeah, what are you waiting for? Victor and I, we are going to be taking a quick short break. In the meantime, do check out the ESL Play website and see if you want to sign yourself as well as your team up. Take care. We'll be right back.
Right?
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the grand finals of Asphalt 9 Legends. My name is AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with the one and only Victor Gax to bring you all of the fastest and hottest of action from the day.
Yeah, indeed. And after we've already seen the top 4 of the Android class, this time we're going to be jumping over to the iOS class and to see 4 new drivers show us what they've got in the game of Asphalt 9 here. So just like before, we're going to be running semifinals, 2 of them in fact, and then the winners those go to grand finals. Then we have a lower bracket with the 3rd and 4th placers. So just like with the Android class, only difference is it's on a completely different platform.
Absolutely. So 4 different players in here, because we can't have the same players on 2 different platforms for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
So, 4 different players here, Mustachio here with the obvious statements of the day. I don't know. I wake up every day and I come up with 10 obvious things that I can say on broadcast that everybody already knows about. And that's how I make a living, Victor.
Hey, that's part of the job, you know. You gotta explain it to everyone who doesn't know. So, you never know. There might be a few meal details like, oh, well, what? Wait, what? They're supposed to run 3 tracks. Oh, okay. So, getting the obvious out of the way there. I mean, the thing that we are both here to see really are who is going to be the fastest. And, in a game like Asphalt 9, being fast wins races.
Absolutely. So best out of 3 for the first 3 of the series that we'll see in here. And of course, to close the day off, we've got a best out of 5, and that is your grand finals. Just like Victor has walked you on through already, the first 2 races that will be racing in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will be able to walk you through once we've got our brackets ready. We'll be able to show you exactly what we just said, but with a little bit of graphics.
A little bit of flair.
Yeah.
A little bit flair and style.
I was always the kid in school, man. Like you tell me something and I'll be like, huh? You show me something and you tell me the exact same thing, I'll be like, huh? And speaking of huh, I really love one of the players in here for the iOS section because he's got one of the most creative IGNs I have ever come across.
Yeah, I mean, he's Japanese, so what do you expect? But then again, it was a little bit of a turn when I saw his name in the list there, because I had to ask production, like, how do you pronounce this? Because it's all in Japanese. And when they explained to me, I was like, what, really? That's what it meant?
When they explained to us, we were like, so let's take a quick look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. These are your brackets for the iOS segment. These 4 top racers. Noni X and he goes up against the sound of hydrogen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's what his name is. It's the sound of hydrogen in Japanese. I'm not going to try to pronounce it in Japanese here because I cannot pronounce Japanese, but I got to say, that was a lovely name there from him.
Yeah, man. And of course, we've got Extreme as well as Zenith. Now, they will take each other on as well. Like Victor has walked you through already, the winners of these 2 series will go on to the grand finals. The losers will play for the third placement, and that will be right after the first two series. So let's see exactly who will be able to reach up to the top. I, for one, am going to be extremely biased because I just want the Sound of Hydrogen to win, just so I can say, the Sound of Hydrogen has become your champion.
Oh, that's just going to be perfect. Isn't it? You're going to be building up to that all day, I expect. So, well, let's see. I mean, if Hydrogen can pull it off, if Hydrogen gets himself into the grand finals and actually goes toe to toe with the grand finals, I mean, that's going to be a perfect place to use that line there.
Absolutely. and at a point like this, I really truly wish I had paid attention in chemistry classes back in school. Because, I would have been like, able to make like some sort of a joke whether or not, based on how heavy this little gas is, whether he'll float to the top or he'll sink to the bottom. Actually, I don't know. Chat, help me out here.
Well, okay, I mean, I'm not a chemist, but hydrogen, if I remember right, has only one proton and one... No, it's only one proton and one electron. So it's literally the lightest and like the simplest molecule.
Now we understand why he went with hydrogen, because he's going to float up to the top with no problems whatsoever. And even gravity cannot affect this guy, but let's see if or not he'll be able to hold his wheels to the ground. If anything, Asphalt 9 Legends is the kind of game where you don't really want your wheels on the ground. You want to be up in the air with those barrel rolls as well as flat spins.
Yeah, I mean, you got to nail all of those pretty well, and you got to be well timed here, so a lot of things have to go right. Oh, the start looks pretty good for both these guys. They are literally neck to neck, getting the jump together. Whoa, Bobby getting the jump a little bit better there. It's going to be the Sound of Hydrogen, so he's going to be ahead of Anonyx right now, so it's going to be quite a bit of ground for them to cover, but it looks like Anonyx will be up to the task. He gets a shockwave boost there. That's going to give him a lot of speed, so he's literally right up against Hydrogen here, and in fact, he takes the lead.
Oh, the tracks are alive with the Sound of Hydrogen, as he will be unable to play catch-up in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Gimmick will be right in front of him. Are we going to be able to see him make this jump and see if he can capitalize at the Whoa, what a wall ride coming through in there. Lucky it wasn't a crash, Victor.
I wonder if that deflection actually hurt or helped him, though, because it looks like the Sound Hydrogen is having trouble trying to close the gap between him and Anonyx, and Anonyx nailing a nice little nice shockwave boost there. So does Hydrogen, though, but he does nail the shockwave in mid-air, so he had to readjust himself in order to be able to get the drift through in the next corner. So that might have costed him quite a bit of time now, as Anonyx now enters lap 2.
Yeah, this is just halfway there, and we still have... The Sound of Hydrogen will be able to keep his car on track, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And there's nothing that Anonyx can do right now except to hope that there's hydrogen this track. But I do not think this guy will want to give an inch on this track, and we might have just gotten what we wanted in here. As the Sound of Hydrogen will take victory number 1. Now I know I'm calling this out a little bit too early, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but the way this game works, if you make that mistake, it's almost impossible to make a comeback. We have not seen anyone do it so far. Is Anonyx gonna be the As I was asking that question, Anonyx unfortunately goes off radar, and he will be blipped out of existence onto that reset, and the Sound of Hydrogen will get race number... See why I love my job?
I'm literally rolling around here in laughter because, my goodness, that was just such a perfect moment, wasn't it? Oh my goodness.
You things like this, you just can't.
No, even the best writers in the world could not write a script like this. What the heck happened in that run there? That's a lot of... What a mistake there by Anonyx to actually clip off the side of the castle and ended up like out of bounds. That right off the bat, that was a huge mistake. Shouldn't have been made there, but anyways, did it anyway.
Yeah.
So at that point, we realized, okay, Hydrogen pretty much going to be set because right now he has made a flawless run.
Yeah.
He had not made a single mistake thus far, so he just keeps going as he is. And then after that, NONX was really trying hard to catch up. And at one point, it looked like he was starting to gain on him.
Yes.
He was getting some better boosts.
Yes.
He got some good shot waves out of the way, so he was starting to close that gap. And then he went for another jump that landed miserably bad. So, my goodness.
In the gaming world, we say GGWP. Come again, my friend. Maybe in race number 2. But the smell of victory for the sound of hydrogen. Will he be able to do the exact same, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? This is one opportunity for AnonyX to pull this right back into the center with a win. This is a best out of 3. It can be forced into 3 races if AnonyX can step up to the plate and take this next hit. Let's see if or not he'll be able to do that, Victor.
Yeah, there's still, ladies and gentlemen, this is just race 1. We
Yeah.
still got at least one more. We could even go for 2 if NONX is able to pull off this next run. So, again, it's going to be down to the mistakes. It's going to be down to who has a more consistent run, who makes the least amount of mistakes, and who is able to capitalize on said mistakes. So, in that previous run, though, it was definitely Hydrogen that literally did not make a single mistake throughout that run. And NONX made 2, so he's got 2 mistakes not to make in the next run.
There's this one point of highlight, right, where he took that wall right. And
No, landed on his roof right off the start. That's not the way you're going to start the race off there, my friend.
The taste of asphalt as it will be. The smell of... See, unfortunately, Mr. Hydrogen will not be able to do much. And AnonyX, he needs to hope and pray for AnonyX to make a mistake. How do you turtle up on the very first ramp available?
I mean, they both went on it at the same time, so I would think that just a little bit of a miscalculation on Hydrogen's side. Like, normally you should still be able to both nail the jump, but there's just not enough rotation there for Hydrogen to land on his wheel. So instead, he landed on his roof, and that's really costing him a lot of time because he had to reset, and then now he's just on a scramble now to just try to chase up to AnonyX, who's literally built a huge lead for himself now because he knows as long as he can just maintain the same consistent run that he can do on this track and just ensure that he stays ahead of Hydrogen, there's no way for Hydrogen to be able to catch up. So, yeah, again, at this point now, it's going to be AnonyX's race to lose, and he hasn't made any mistakes so far, so kudos to him. He's still going to be ahead.
Yeah, and here's...
no,
my
not
Lord.
again. Not again. That time though, he really was trying to go for the real slide. Didn't work out.
Nah.
It didn't seem like that he hit an obstacle along the way. So, yeah, really unfortunate. But it looks like AnonyX should be winning this one here, and barring any silly mistakes here.
Yeah, there's like 0 chances in hell that AnonyX is going to be losing this one because, and I'll tell you why, right? It's not the fact that we saw, the sound of Hydrogen kind of go in and crash twice. It's the first crash just cost him way too much of time because he went turtle and the car did not reset. The car continued dragging turtle for a few seconds, and those are those few seconds where you're not going to be able to recover in the match. And then you bring in another crash, that's it, game over. And the race is still running, and there's just no sign at all of Mr. Hydrogen.
Well, I just gotta say, how perfect it is. It is literally a mirror of what happened in race 1, but it's now on different sides. This time, it's actually Hydrogen that made 2 mistakes, and that's both costed him his race here. But NONX's previous mistakes in that first run there also cost him mistakes.
Yep.
So it's going to come down to this third race now.
Yes.
It's going to be down to, on this last run here through the Industrial Revolution in Osaka, who's going to be able to stay in front when they come across that finish line.
Remind me again, what is his IGN? Because I'm so scared, because I'm saying so many nonsense on stream, and I'm just scared that I might get his name wrong. The sound of Hydrogen, right?
Yes.
Okay. The sound of Hydrogen. Better win this, because I'm having way too much of fun with his name.
True.
I'm not even kidding. He better win this next race. Now, I'm sorry, AnonyX. You know I'm a huge fan from all of those weeks of recap, right? But I think we need to see exactly what this Hydrogen is made of. Will it be AnonyX, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, or will it be, the absolute perfection of an IGN winning this next race. It all boils down to this because it's a best out of 3 and one final opportunity. Who goes in to play off for third place? Who gets to go to the grand finals gets decided now.
Yeah, so let's go ahead, jump right into it. Industrial Revolution on Osaka is the track here. So this is going to be the final decider between these two. So let's go ahead, jump in game now, and let's see how this race is going to go. So off to a good start so far. Hydrogen is going to be ahead. He nails the jump first. So Anonyx going to be building up a little bit more boost here compared to Hydrogen, so it's going to be very close. So it looks like Hydrogen is going to go through the tunnel there, still stays ahead of Anonyx, who almost clips the apex there, so that might have cost him a little bit of time, though he's still able to stay on the tail of Anonyx, which is pretty good so far. Okay, that little bit of a flat spin there is actually allowed Anonyx to close up. He's going to go for a little bit of a wall right there. He will pick up the blue bottle, but Anonyx is a little bit low on boost now, so he's going to have to rebuild that a little bit before they nail this turn, and looks like he nailed that turn pretty well there, getting a shockwave boost right out of that. They are literally neck to neck right now. It could be really close, this race, as now Anonyx, getting bumped a little bit there. He's going to be bumped against the wall, so that lost him a bit of time, but no! Anonyx rolls over on the bridge, and Hydrogen speeds away and builds up a healthy gap.
Oh, there's one thing done right by the Sound of Hydrogen, there's one thing done wrong by Anonyx. Will they be able to cancel each other out? This is lap number 2. The Sound of Hydrogen make that approach. Anonyx, as he now only completes lap number 1, this may just be way too late. Are we going to be able to hope and pray that, the Sound of Hydrogen makes one mistake in here, which is the only way Anonyx can right now catch up. And you know, I did mention there's one thing that, the Sound of his name is so long, Hydrogen. You know, the one thing Hydrogen did right in there, Victor, was when he was passing through robotics on lap number 1. We saw him do a 360 whilst the car was on the ground. Now that is something pro players just do not do. You hit those 360s when you are up in the air, so you do not lose any speed. But instead of losing speed, he only built up his, the distance between himself as well as Anonyx, because I feel like that was a split-second decision where he was about to lose control of his car because he took an overdrift and he hit it right into the 360, built up the nitrous, blasted out of it to perfection. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as Hydrogen takes a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, very well done to him there. I mean, Anonyx, unfortunately, made that one mistake, and that was enough to cost him the race there because the gap became really big.
Yeah.
And Hydrogen didn't make a mistake at all in that run. You can see at some points as well, like he left that nitrous bar at full, didn't even use any nitrous at all because he knew he was so far ahead of Anonyx. He knew he could afford to just hoard all of that boost and just use it if Anonyx ever catches up. So then again, you understand where your advantages are, and you just use that to overcome your opponent. And in this case, I think AJ, you're going to be really happy now. You're going to be able to say the Sound of Hydrogen a lot throughout the rest of the day.
I'll tell the truth, okay? I'll vomit out all of the truth right now. I did not think that Hydrogen could pull that off.
Oh, okay.
I swear to God, I did not think he could pull that off because Anonyx has been the highlight player, the highlight racer for our recap shows for weeks now because of how great he is on the track. I did not expect him to get pushed down into playing for third spot in here. The Sound of Hydrogen. Not only does he come in here with all of his skills, he's also bringing in some surprises along with him, Victor.
And that's the thing, even in games like Asphalt 9, an arcade racer, and even in real life racing as well, it's not just enough to be the fastest in the world. You also have to be the most consistent driver as well. And consistency is what some of these drivers really struggle at sometimes because making mistakes though it's not an uncommon thing. Even the best drivers in the world will always slip up occasionally.
Correct, yeah.
But especially when you're fighting against another driver, you want to be more consistent than the other guy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the most consistent, the fastest, and the guy who has the best start is 9 times out of 10 is going to be the one who wins the race.
Yeah, and also once again highlighting this one key moment where he hit that flat 360 in robotics. And those are those moments as well that sets these races apart from the others, right? Yes, you go in there and you try your best to not make mistakes, but the environment around you forces those mistakes out at times based on the speed that you have chosen to take some of these corners on. And the recovery from that split-second decision is what allowed him to keep hold of the lead in that match. And the pressure to just catch up, the pressure to continuously go fast, the pressure to not ease off on the brakes at all, sorry, on the accelerator at all, seems to have just not done Anoni X any sort of favors in here at all.
I mean, that's also the kind of it segues pretty well into this point here that I'd like to make, which is that sometimes the fastest line through a track may not be the best line to take during a race, because we need combining a lot of risky jumps with a lot of segments that require perfect boost management or perfect timing. You're not necessarily guaranteed to nail all of those in one single run. So you always want to give yourself a little margin of error, but you want to just mitigate as much as possible the amount of time you lose taking an alternative line. So all these kind of factors, all these players will definitely have to consider that going to races. So
absolutely.
Speaking of races though, we're going to be going into our next semifinals.
Absolutely. Let's check out exactly who we will be seeing in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've got Extreme going up against Zenith in here. And Extreme, Malaysia representing the house, Victor.
Yeah, so both of them nailing the jump well, nailing the second one as well. They are going to be drifting out and boosting at the same time. Looks like Zen is starting to gain onto Extreme now. So Extreme under a lot of pressure to try to keep ahead of that blue car. So Zen is now just following and mirroring the line that Zen is taking through. So the thing is about the cliffhanger track here on Himalayas is that there's not a lot of complicated jumps or turns. It's really about maximizing his speed through a lot of these fast sections. And in that instance, though, Extreme able to nail that jump there might have been able to get him a little bit of an advantage here compared to Zenith, because now Zenith he is able to make that jump. He's able to close that gap. He just needs to try to find an extra little bit of an advantage, a little bit of a wall right there from Extreme is going to be able to keep him on track. But so far, this is looking like a very close first round here between both Extreme and Zenith.
Oh, absolutely, man. They are hitting the exact same nitrous at the same time. No mistakes being made in here at all, but Extreme maintaining his composure within this race. But then lap number 2 has shown us time and time again that things can change. You can have, they both will take the right-hand side of this map, which is a great thing for both these players, because anyone who had taken the left-hand corner would have been able to get a slight margin of advantage in this race, Victor.
It might be a slight margin, but again, it may not be an easy one to nail though. So going for that jump on the right-hand side is certainly a better choice here, because it's least likely to result in you landing wrong. There was that one instance though in that previous previous round, but that was still okay. Oh, that's an interesting run.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's going to be Zenith with the crazy, absolute, death-defying stunts in here right now, and is right on the tail of Extreme. He goes for the rail ride as well on the tail of Extreme. Can he get the shockwave and the takedown as well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Close. Extreme should be able to close this race off. He hits that shockwave, Zenith, both of them at the same time, and there will just be no catching the Malaysian to the very end. And Extreme takes race number 1.
Wow, that was literally on the edge of my seat there. That was a very close finish, between the two of them, because again, we've been on and on all throughout the day about drivers who've been making mistakes versus those that don't.
Yes.
In this case, neither of them made a mistake. Like both of them were able to mirror the line pretty well. It looks like Zenith had a slightly different way of taking the last section of the lap. So that actually managed to gain him quite a significant amount of time, because you can see he closed up the gap onto Extreme in the second half of that lap there. So if the race had just gone on for one more lap, I think Zenith could have possibly overtaken him.
This is just masterful gameplay at its best. When you get the airtime, there's just so little bit of resistance on the ground. You are able to manage your way in the air. But what's important is the types of nitrous boost that you hit when you're in the air. Yes, and that is one of the things that actually sets Asphalt 9 Legends apart from other racing games. Being able to hit the nitrous in the air to control exactly how your car reacts. And this guy, His car was on a flying carpet. Okay, he was maneuvering in the air, closed that gap up by so much. And just like you pointed out, Victor, if that race had just continued in for another 25% more of the distance on the track, it would not be the Malaysian getting the win.
Yeah, I mean, Zenith was already catching up in since the end of lap 1.
Yeah.
And then lap 2, taking a slightly different line. The second half of that lap was already closing up the gap. You could see they were both literally side by side going to the finish line. So this next race here better deliver because these guys are going to be very close in the semifinals. I can't tell who's going to be coming out ahead. Yeah, so here we go. Into the race now. Extreme is going to be ahead of Zenith. Going to try his best now to try to keep the blue car behind him, and Extreme already gaining a huge gap now through the streets of Shanghai. So Zenith's got a lot of ground to catch up here. So going for that jump here on the bridge, takes the flat spin, feels boost up nice and tight. Doesn't go for the perfect boost though, but does this time around in order to get the jump done. So that's going to allow him at least try to build some speed. Had to be very careful through this section here, just making sure you have a nice clean line through there and not hit the wall.
Okay, now look at the way Extreme is managing his nitrous here as well as Zenith. On the left-hand side, you can see that this guy is just extreme boosting himself all the way through, but the exact mirror coming in from Zenith. Neither one making these mistakes in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, which is going to make it so difficult for Extreme because this is pressure. He has got a opponent hot on his tails. The slightest margin of error in here that Zenith should be able to capitalize on. He will not be taking the 360 spin, takes the barrel roll right behind, will stick onto the right-hand side of this path, which will put more space between himself as well as Extreme. Unfortunately, Zenith is just not reading this map right and picking those right lines, Victor.
That's the thing though, because like what I'm seeing here is that Zenith is really nailing those barrel roll jumps really well, so he's actually building up a lot of boost, but the thing is that not being able to apply the most of it in some of these corners here means that he's still losing out somewhat when you compare it to Extreme. But as far as Extreme is concerned, all he needs to do is just maintain his run here, maintain this level of average speed through these corners here, and he should be able to stay up ahead because Zenith is not really making a lot of difference at this point. So if Extreme can just hold off from making any mistakes at all in this run and ensuring that he nails every single boost bottle, I think he should be able to stay ahead at the end of this lap. So let's see, coming on to the final section here, Zenith now trying his best to keep up here, but they're coming around to the final corner, gets the final jump. That's really close there from Extreme, but he still comes across the line in first. So that's 2 wins right now for Extreme.
Absolutely, and he will move on to the grand finals, and unfortunately for Zenith, he will have to play for 3rd placement in here. But you know, there was very little bit of difference within the 2 races, but at the same time, a stark difference between the 2 races. Unfortunately for Zenith, he just has not spent enough time on this track. He didn't take that line, and I'll tell you why, right? I've got to draw graphs for.
Okay.
I'm going to draw a graph.
All right.
Okay.
I can't wait to see this.
I hope the camera can pick this up.
Nope.
Gee, thanks, camera. Okay.
All right.
You've got an S.
Right.
Okay, and in Asphalt 9 Legends, most of the roads are you've got tons of these little curved roads. And when you take your barrel roll ramps, they are designed to help you to shoot a straight path through these snaky roads. Because turning in Asphalt 9 Legends loses you speed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you don't take that barrel roll and end up on the exact line, you are going to kind of just waste your airtime. And you're going to land on the right-hand side. You're going to have to take an extra bit of corner. That extra bit of turning is just going to add on those microseconds onto the clock. That was about it. Zenith is not going to be able to beat the likes of, Extreme anytime at the moment. And it's just unfortunate, my friend, because Extreme was just another level player altogether. But how will he perform at the grand finals later on? This has just been series number 1 for the iOS section.
Yeah, so it's still a long way to go before we're going to be able to tell you guys, but I can say that at least he's showing 2 very good strengths here, like just speed and consistency. So the question now, I think, when he's going to be going up against Hydrogen later on in the grand finals is like, has he learned these 5 tracks much better compared to him?
Correct.
Like he has to know what is the fastest line through these tracks here and be able to nail it perfectly every single time. So that's going to be the battle going out in the grand finals for the 3rd and 4th placer though. So this is going to be Anonyx's chance now to try to make up for what I would say is quite a difficult first semifinals, I have to say, for him.
Yes. But in the next one, I can almost predict this already. Anonyx is going to be able to get the victory. And this is purely by the way the lines are being taken. And there's just like I said, to some it may be, they both drove pretty well. They didn't crash whatsoever, but unfortunately, it's just the way Zenith is taking those lines on those tracks. It does not give me the confidence that he knows it as well as Anonyx. Let's see how they take this race, Victor.
Yeah, so looks like they're both not going for that first jump there, but Anonyx is going to be taking the second one, no doubt to try to build up some extra boost. He picks up the bottle as well, picks up 2 actually, so he's going to be able to use a shockwave boost that actually gains him quite a lot of speed here going down this section. So both of these guys picking up 1 bottle each now. They're going to be coming up against the ramp. Anonyx going for a little bit of a wall ride. That's going to be a slow barrel roll, but he nails the landing very well there. So both of these guys very much neck to neck against each other. Anonyx going for a little bit of a wall ride here just to set him up on that ramp. But at the moment, as long as he's able to keep up with Zenith here, he's within a fighting chance now of trying to snatch that lead.
Oh, this is Zenith at his best, because we are seeing a totally different beast on this race. This is not the guy that we saw in the previous series. This might have just fired him up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And Nonny X surprisingly struggling against Zenith. Zenith just keeping his composure, hitting all of his nitrous, not making the mistake this time around. He seems so much more composed on this track, and which is why practice in Asphalt 9 Legends is so important on each and every single one of the tracks, Victor.
Yeah, I'm loving this run right now because these guys are so close and such neck-to-neck drives between the 2 of them. So Anonyx landing a beautiful landing drift himself up to get that maximum boost out. Anonyx going for a normal boost there in order to try to maximize the duration of his nitrous there. So again, he's going for that wall ride again, and this time he's going for a flat spin. That's going to build up a lot of boost there, so he's going to try to nail it the moment he lands on the ground. So far he's keeping up very close to Zenith, but still not finding that big advantage here that he needs in order to get an overtake done. Can he find from this round though? He is going to be able to pick up the blue bottle, but Zenith has a full tank of nitrous to work with here. Hits the shockwave boost and goes for the drift there, but it looks like that is going to be enough for Zenith to build up a gap. And with the finish line coming up very close here, and Onyx only has one last chance here to try to go for the overtake, but it doesn't seem to have come through, as both of these guys will be coming across the line now. Zenith still going to be very far ahead, gets a golden bottle and a blue bottle as well. Zenith now going to be coming across the line in first place. And Onyx, even though he nailed the jump, he is not able to get past him.
He surprising, very shocking performance from Anonyx. I have never seen him miss a ramp. I've never seen Anonyx miss an important ramp. He missed just one before they went into that fork road, which split once again. He missed that one ramp, and that was more than enough for Zenith to build up the distance between the two, and there was just no possibility of him even making any approaches. Well done, Zenith. That was a... I mean, from the first series that he took on versus this is just worlds apart.
I mean, it's so close, the competition here, because like you could see that both of them were like running similar lines, and for the most part, Anonyx was actually keeping very close to Zenith. It was just that one differential, like you said, not nailing that barrel roll jump there, that's costed Anonyx quite a bit of time, and Zenith was able to just pull ahead. So again, the that's why this is racing is always a game of margins. You're always trying to optimize your lines and trying to make sure that you get the fastest possible way through any sort of given section. So the fastest way through there was to be able to get that barrel roll jump, and Onyx didn't do it that one lap, so that's why the gap built up.
Yeah, and I mean, it built up to another problem on top of that as well, right? You take that barrel roll, you get this very slight advantage in the air, less resistance, but it also gives you extra nitrous.
Yeah.
Nitrous that an Onyx just did not earn by missing that barrel roll. And once again, not only has that jump managed to put a couple of microseconds between you and your opponent, now you don't have the nitrous that he has now built up for himself, and that led into a shockwave into another barrel roll. And at the end of the day, it was just purely capitalized, and Anonyx could not do anything at all against Zenith. What a beautiful run this was. But can Zenith keep this up? Because what we look for in these drivers, Victor, at the end of the day, is that consistency. One great run is not enough.
Yeah, speed, consistency, and just being fast overall. So all those combined together, you make the perfect package. And with the way this match is running right now, it just feels like a grand finals match, honestly, given how close both of these guys are.
Yeah.
So can't wait. Like this. So to me, this feels like it's going to go into a game 3, just given how close they are.
Yeah.
Now let's see. With race number 2 coming up, will there be a differential here? Will one of these guys slip up? The very rare slip up that causes them to race. Let's go ahead and see.
Yeah, so the assumption was Anonyx should have taken this series easily based on the way Zenith has performed in here thus far, as well as from, data that we have on Anonyx from the past. Just knowing that he's an amazing driver that just takes all of these perfect lines, right? But the way Zenith has been able to impress us in match number 1, let's see if or not he'll be able to pull it off in match number 2, because race 2, we actually see Anonyx in the lead, and he is building up the distance by the second.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising to me, because initially it looked like they were just trading the lead off of each other, both Anonyx and Zenith here. So I'm quite surprised, as not only has Anonyx has been able to take the lead away, but now it's starting to build a very comfortable gap. So it's going to have a lot of pressure on him now to try to catch up to that. And Anonyx is using all the flat spins that he can in order to be able to get a shockwave boost down. That's going to be able to keep him ahead of Zenith for quite a bit. So Zenith narrowly missing a bust over there. That could have been fatal if he actually ended up crashing into that to his run. So Zenith right now really trying to catch up. Didn't quite pick up the boost bottles there. That could have been really crucial though, because he really needs to gain a lot more boost in general compared to Anonyx if he wants to have any chance of closing up the gap.
Yeah, 25% of the nitrous will get refilled if you pick up the blue bottle. 50% gets refilled if you manage to pick up the yellow nitrous. Now, are we going to be able to see Zenith close this gap? Because there were some moments where he looked like he was close to doing it, but Anonyx, right, he pulls out even that flat 360 that he pulled off just in the nick of time to build up the shockwave, specifically for the shockwave, and blast out of that corner. Those are the moments of perfection that we are looking for in Zenith right now as well, because Anonyx does not look like he's ready to make any mistakes on this track.
And that's the thing. The thing to me is that Zenith is not really closing out the gap enough here to really force that pressure onto Anonyx. So for him, for our driver from Vietnam here, he's just literally having a Sunday drive now, because he's just nailing every single one of his boosts and jumps here, and not having the pressure at all means that he pretty much led this race through and through. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a race.
Oh, and this is one of the best matches so far. This is one of the best races so far, because both of these races are quite equal on many parts of those races. But the one thing that we saw Zenith falling short of earlier was his knowledge of the map, because he very clearly took some of those turns. He did not accidentally miss the barrel roll like Anoni X did, which missed him race number 1. He specifically took those ramps, which goes to show that there are some parts where Anoni X will be able to exploit. Is it going to be all the way down to the awareness of the track in race number 3? Or is it going to be down to looking for your opponents to make a mistake and then capitalizing? It all boils down to this now, Victor.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I would think that your goal most of the time is just not to hope actually that your opponent makes a mistake, because you never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can never predict whether your opponent is actually going to hit a wall or something.
Yeah.
So that your own run is strong and consistent enough to actually make up for any mistake your opponent might do. So that's really it. At the end of the day, you're just making sure that you've already memorized this track well. You already know exactly which line you want to take, and you're just really trying to compare your line against your opponent's line, see where you differ somewhat, and then just really press those places where you're actually faster than your opponent.
Based on what you just said, I noticed that there's a clear difference in the type of gamer that you are and the type of gamer that I am. Because I'll tell you, I'm the kind of gamer that at the start of the race, I'll be praying, please crash, please crash, please crash.
Well, and again, it's
Understanding your own strengths, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen, boys and girls.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to understand that you need a one-up in life, all right? And if
Right.
your opponent crashes, it's going to be still a tough race to win based on my current abilities in Asphalt 9 Legends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But we get down to our final race in here. Is Zenith going to be able to take it, or is Anoniax going to be able to rise up to the top? The prediction was Anoniax should be able to bag this easily, but I was immediately proven wrong because Zenith managed to shine through.
I love
Very
that.
close. And you know, hitting the 360 up in the air as well
Whoa.
can result in a
Whoa.
beautiful. But this is just an all-out brawl using those cars. And with Zenith just going through that car at the very end there, that might have just put on a Microsoft.
say like Anoniax played that start extremely well because he was actually behind Zenith initially, but then just holding out that boost a little bit longer meant he had a much bigger boost bar compared to Zenith there, so that actually allowed him to nail that shockwave boost, and that actually gave him the lead there. So well done. Now the question is, can he hold this lead here? And the thing is that so far in the last two races, he's actually done that very well. So Zenith now having a lot of ground to cover here. So he is able to at least nail that jump there along with the wall ride. So the thing is that if he can't really find any added speed here through some of these sections, it's pretty much going to be Anoniax's race here, because what a start that race was.
Yeah, and he's just gaining speed here with every single movement of his. Anoniax does not seem to be dropping in terms of pace at all. And this was the robotics earlier where we saw that 360 coming through, which gave the other players so much of a boost. Anoniax not even resorting to any one of that. Why? Because literally look on the left-hand side of the screen. Zenith can literally see a number, but he sees no car. Anoniax is out of sight, definitely not out of mind for Zenith. This guy's not going to be able to catch him.
That's the thing, when you're playing catch-up, is your work is literally harder than the other guy. Like Anoniax, all he needs to do is just maintain the lead. So that's why you're seeing him like use a little bit less drift, a little bit less boost here and there, because he knows that he already has the advantage. He does not need to build it any more than he needs to. And Zenith is just really having a lot of difficulty closing a gap because Anoniax has already come across the line.
Yeah.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Anoniax is through.
Unfortunately, Zenith was just this close to getting the third spot, and Anoniax will pick it up instead, but very, very well played to both players. Once again, this disclaimer needs to be made because it's super easy, sitting here in this seat and shoutcasting what these boys do out there. It is not easy to get behind those screens and pull off anything that they are getting done in these races. To maintain a line in the game is difficult, all right? To maintain your nitrous in the game is difficult. To do both of this when you've got one opponent constantly trying to take you down, super crazy difficult, all right? And to play it at this level where those microseconds make like, those decisions for you, or at least I thought that would be the scenario, right? But there doesn't seem to be a microsecond issue here.
No, not really. I mean, not in that sense. The margins aren't really that far. It's just that by the time your opponent's already built up a big gap, it becomes very, very difficult already to try to catch up to it, because how much time can you actually gain through a lot of these sections, especially when you're maxing out your boost most of the time. So that's the problem that Zenith found himself in the moment that Anonyx already not only overtook him, but actually gained a good second or two already ahead of him.
Yeah.
So from that point on, it's always going to be uphill climb. And unfortunately for Zenith, he couldn't find the advantage, and Anonyx ran a flawless run.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't take any more risks than he needed to because he was already in the lead, and that's the way you win races. You know, even in real life. You know, you're not driving flat out all the time, 100% of the time. You're really just playing the margins and seeing comparing yourself to your opponent. And if you know they're already faster and you're already ahead, there's no sense in pushing any more than you need to.
And we do need to point this out as well, because when we go into the time attack, for the players to qualify for the grand finals or the playoffs itself, it was a situation where they were on the track on their own. You can plan the lines that you want to take. You can plan all of those ramps that you want to take. And here's the very interesting thing about these ramps, right? Especially the barrel roll ramps. Barrel roll ramps. That's a tongue twister in its own. Barrel roll ramps. Okay? If you do not take it at the right angle, you are probably going to crash and burn, or you're going to lose your speed. And that's exactly what we saw happen between the match with Anonyx as well as the sound of hydrogen, right? He was forced off to the corner of that ramp. They took it at the same time, and he went turtle. And that's exactly what makes a stage like this Grand Finals so exciting, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And on that note, we are now about to step in to the Grand Finals for the iOS segment of Asphalt 9 Legends. Race number 1, and this is going to be between Extreme as well as the sound of hydrogen. Let's see who takes the W.
I love it when you say that, man. The best name in the business right now here. Hydrogen going up against Extreme. Who is going to win it? Is it going to be the Japanese driver or the Malaysian driver? We're going to be finding out in a few moments. So Extreme taking the inside line there is able to stay just a hair width ahead of Hydrogen now. Going to jump. That's a flat spin there for Extreme. He's actually falling well behind. He actually resets it. Extreme is going to have to run with a gap now that's ever increasing here as the sound of Hydrogen is literally slipping away in the lead.
Oh, that was an extreme error coming in here from the Malaysian, and there is no chance in hell, none at all, to catch the sound of Hydrogen at the pace that he is going. He literally needs to make not one mistake, but a major mistake in order for the Malaysian to be able to catch up right now. And no matter how good, no matter how well Extreme takes all of his turns, manages his nitrous, if his opponent makes 0 mistakes, and look at the pressure. There is no pressure on the sound of Hydrogen.
Not at all, but you can't tell that just watching his screen right now, because he's still absolutely flat out there, hitting the buzz there as he makes the landing. So that's the thing though, the gap is big enough that even that buzz is not going to stop Hydrogen at this point. Extreme is still having a heck of a lot of gap here to try to catch up to, so he's doing the best he can, nailing every single jump. Hydrogen has made one mistake. Can Extreme catch up?
Yeah, this is what we were talking about. Remember what I said? Hydrogen just making a mistake is not enough for Extreme to catch up. Hydrogen needs to mess up big time. And Hydrogen has already messed up twice. But those were small errors. Hitting straight into the bus. Hydrogen!
That's close.
Shockwaves out of the trouble. And he just went into a crazy spin, which is unexplainable. And the Malaysian still cannot catch up. Why? Because he did not take jump number 1 right. And Extreme is not going to be able to get this unless in the final 10% of this run right now, we see, the sign of Hydrogen mess this up.
Well, that's the thing though. It up, Extreme is closing the gap. It's getting very close, but it is not enough. Hydrogen wins the first race there, and man, I mean, it's just heartbreaking there for Extreme there, I have to say.
I guess doo-doo happens.
Yep. Yep.
That he took a 360 up in the air at the wrong angle. And those are moments which sometimes you just cannot control, especially in a duel, because to the point we literally mentioned before going into that race, you take those ramps, especially at the start of the race, and those cars are just side by side, where you have to fight for your space on the ramp. If you do not get that perfect angle, and if you get the perfect angle and you at the same time manage to force your opponent to take just the most minor of imperfect angles, that's exactly what happens. And that's not something that you can plan. That's not something that you can hope and pray for, because that was not a crash. That was just a wrong angle mess up that I have never seen any drivers recover from. Remember the turtle that
Yep.
The Sound of Hydrogen went on?
Yep.
It's similar to the situations like that, where there's nothing that you can do except to wait for your car to stop, reset, and continue the race. Getting into a crash takes off so many precious seconds. If that happens to you, my friend, and if it happens again, my friends, the smell of victory is what Hydrogen will be saying at the end. This is race number 2. Let's see what happens, Victor.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see, because Extreme is going to have a lot to work on here for the next few races. So going side by side.
Oi.
Getting their elbows out here, I like that, but Extreme that was not enough there to mess up Hydrogen lead. Gets a much better wall ride out of that sector there. So looks like Hydrogen is having a very, very good run so far, getting a very comfortable lead ahead of Extreme. What can Extreme do now? He's going to try to nail 2 good back-to-back jumps, 3 back-to-back jumps there, and a barrel roll to boot. So doing that well, he's going to be able to use the maximum amount of boost here. Nails the perfect boost, in fact, and then drops it down to a normal boost here in order to be able to maximize the amount of boost he can use through this section. Going through robotics here, he is on fire right now, nailing the shockwave boost here as he comes right out of the tunnel.
Oh, and okay, so this is a scenario where we've already seen in the previous race, but with a major difference whereby Extreme was in front and the Sound of Hydrogen was behind. The Sound of Hydrogen did not manage to catch up, and Extreme had made such a huge mistake. The problem here is, this time around, Extreme did not make a huge mistake. It's minor fractions, and we will be off screen so far, and he has taken the lead.
Yeah, it's so funny because as you were just mentioning that he didn't make any mistakes, he made one tiny mistake, which was actually ending up hitting the top of the flyover there. So that actually costed him quite a bit of time through that section, and Extreme was able to capitalize on that heavily. So now Extreme is in the lead. Hydrogen is far behind, and he's now trying to work hard to catch up here. And to Extreme's credit, like, he's been nailing those shockwave boosts like nobody's business there all throughout that previous lap. So now he's very firmly in the lead now. Hydrogen's going to have a lot of work here in order to catch up.
Yeah, 15% on this track. Yeah, not gonna happen, my friend. It looks like, the Sound of Hydrogen needs to try in race number 3. He is at the 94%. No crashes coming in here from Extreme so far. It's Sakura pedals all around.
Wow.
Sparks as well as confetti to mark that victory. And what a fight back from the Malaysian. And quite honestly, I did not see Extreme making that cut into the front.
Yeah,
And that totally unexpected error coming in here from the Sound of Hydrogen.
Well, that's the sound of something he didn't want to hear at all. But like one tiny mistake, he made one jump. Yeah. Now, normally you're going to be either you're going to ride off of the overpass, to land onto the next road, or better yet, you try to jump on top of the overpass. The problem that happened with Extreme there is that he jumped, but then he just landed slightly awkwardly. His roof kind of touched the bottom of the overpass. so he ended up dropping down onto the road next to him.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of speed and a lot of time there. And Extreme, he was already on such a perfect run. You could see the way he was chaining those shockwave boosts was just perfect, because that allowed him to not only catch up but actually gain a lot of speed, especially mid-air.
Absolutely. And even at the start of this match, we saw exactly how these duels can make that difference. They were, kind of dustling it out, throwing those elbows out, trying to get each other out of the way. And, that kind of forced not an error, but it kind of forced the most perfect takes on those ramps early on. And Extreme kind of fell back in that race. And to be able to keep that distance, to make sure you are able to capitalize on a moment like that, because we've talked about all of these crashes in here so far. You've got your minor crashes, which is not so minor, but you'll be super lucky if your car is absolutely gone and that reset happens immediately, right? That was not a situation like that at all. Yes, we did see an error coming in here from the Sound of Hydrogen, but that error did not cost him so much of time on the clock. And for us to be able to see Extreme capitalize on such a small window is what shows how great of a racer he is. But can he do it once again? That is the question. Race number 3 now, Victor.
I'll tell you what, if he can still can chain those boosts as consistently as he did, pretty much he was setting himself up for that level of success. So let's see, Extreme now having a good lead here ahead of Hydrogen. They're going to try to go for the barrel roll. A very slow one there from Hydrogen, but he still nails a landing anyway. Extreme getting a microsecond of power boost there. It's going to be able to stay just ahead. Doubles, flat spins here for Hydrogen. He nails the drift and he gets into the shockwave boost here just to get that jump, and he's gaining a lot of speed now. But Extreme now still able to maintain a good gap here, so still going to be quite a while before I think Hydrogen is going to be able to chase up the Extreme.
Yeah, one of the most hardest ramps to take was the first huge flat ramp that we saw, which they forced that barrel roll off. And apart from this, and this was that snaky road that we kind of talked about earlier on, as well as to how you take those barrels to help you keep a straight line and not maneuver around, right? And let's see exactly how he takes the cave. He goes in for the wall, right? Does not manage to hit the barrel like what we saw Gimmick pull off earlier on, which is why my mind was just absolutely blown. But this is just lap number 1. Sound of Hydrogen still has an opportunity.
So the thing is that it's really tricky to try to chain these boosts here when you don't nail those landings well. So going for another barrel roll. Oh, Hydrogen didn't quite nail the barrel roll this time around. He does have quite a bit of boost to work with here and does pick up the yellow bottle, so he's pretty much going to be able to have enough nitrous here for this section, but he might have just cost himself maybe half a second in that sector. So let's see whether or not the Extreme is going to be able to keep up despite all this pressure, because right now I think the lead is still quite comfortable for Extreme side.
Okay, now let's see exactly how they manage this. He doesn't hit that second barrel roll. Is that gonna be of a huge problem? It most probably might be, because 20% more for Extreme to complete this race, and he is on his final run already. Hits the double on the barrel, and he should be able to take the right-hand side of this track and get the wall right out of this cave and be on the final run. And there's almost no walls in here that are gonna be dangerous enough for Extreme to make a mistake, and that is about it. The Sound of Hydrogen will not be able to take this victory. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a best out of 5 races, and the Sound of Hydrogen, he still has an opportunity in here.
He still has 2 more opportunities, I have to say, because there's still a lot of races to go here. But so far, well done to Extreme, though. This time he didn't slip up, and this time you can see him actually take the lead and actually win. So well done to him, though, because it looks like as long as he can keep that up, that's going to be quite a high bar there for Hydrogen to try to overcome, because having made no mistakes at all, so now the pressure is pretty much on Hydrogen to actually have a much better run on these tracks here compared to Extreme.
Okay, now as we drop into Shen City, Shanghai later on, this is a situation where Extreme might be able to take the victory and close this off. Or are we going to be able to see the Sound of Hydrogen fight this back? Because it's not like he hasn't done this. He has already done it once in today, and he has already done it against one of the best players who have been able to qualify for the grand finals. Anonyx himself has been pushed to fight for survival for that third spot, and it is by none other than the Sound of Nitrogen. One more opportunity. If he gives this to Extreme, I'm afraid it might be all over.
I tell you what, Hydrogen is going to have to focus on a lot in its next two coming races, because one is going to be his starts. Like, I think time and time again, we're seeing Extreme actually already build up a very healthy gap in the beginning of these races here. So I think a lot of that has to do with the way that he's handling his starts. He's actually gaining a lot more time in those parts. So when you gain that much in the beginning of the race, and it's much easier for you to maintain that gap all throughout rather than trying to chase up to it. So I think if Hydrogen can get much better start here compared to Extreme, then we'll at least be seeing a much closer race right now. But for the moment, as long as Extreme can actually stay ahead and perform 0 mistakes, it looks like he could be set to win the series. But I wouldn't hold my breath though. There's still a couple of races to go, so anything can still happen.
Either way, I'm gonna scream at the end of this match, the Sound of Hydrogen, either in a very sad tone or a very happy tone. Let's see exactly what happens as Extreme tries to take this one final win to become your grand champion. But the Sound of Hydrogen right on his tail to prevent this. And Hydrogen taking the path on towards the right, manages to cut right back to the left, barrel roll, and he has already lost out a couple of milliseconds on here, but nothing too much for him to catch right back up on. Will take the right path, which I don't know how it's gonna end up for him, Victor.
I don't know either. I'm gonna have to see, but it looks like actually Extreme is still able to stay way up ahead. So that was a bad choice there, I think, from Hydrogen, because not only did he lose out on the start, he took an imperfect line through there, and that actually has actually cost him dearly, because how are you going to try to make up this gap now? Because Extreme, he's going to run the same exact line in lap number 2 here. So Hydrogen now has a lot of ground to work up here, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do it at all.
You do not do that. You do not do that at Shanghai. You have to take your barrel rolls perfectly. You have to stick to the left-hand side of your, line. And this is the part where you have to make the decision where we did not see, the Sound of Hydrogen make in the previous lap. This time he takes the right line. He takes the left-hand side. He took the right-hand side earlier, and there is no way he will be able to catch up to Extreme right now. Extreme needs to make a mistake, and this is something that we will be seeing, the Sound of Hydrogen hope and pray for. The problem with this map though, Victor, it is super duper short, and Extreme will be your champion. The Sound of Hydrogen just could not make the cut at the end.
Yeah, such a shame. That makes a spec series like this so hard, because when both your cars are exactly the same performance, when you're running on the exact same track, it's much more advantageous for you to just follow the line of your opponent. And Hydrogen, essentially, in that one moment there, he made a gamble.
Yeah.
He made a gamble that taking this jump here is going to actually gain me some extra boost or some extra time. Unfortunately for him, that lost him way more time than it was worth. So it was, at the end of the day, a bad decision on his part.
Yeah.
And that could have just cost him the series, though, because...
It definitely did, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing else in that race cost him the series, except that one split-second decision at that fork, left or right. And it's the kind of decision a lot of us come across in life sometimes, and not everybody makes the right choice. It was a bad choice for Hydrogen this time around. He took the right path, and the right path just turned out to be the wrong one.
Yeah, well, it's such a shame though, because leading up to that, it was actually a very, very close race. Like,
it was.
One could wonder, like, if a lot of these tracks here were allowed to run one more lap or maybe 25% more distance, I think there would have been plenty of gap there, rather plenty of opportunities to close gaps.
Yeah.
And right now, what we're seeing here is it's always going to be a battle of consistency. It's always going to be a battle of who takes lines without making any of those minor mistakes. So again, perfection is very much key here in this tournament so far, and what we're seeing right now is the most consistent and the fastest, and as well as the better heads, let's put it that way.
Yeah,
the ones who are making the
absolutely.
better decisions
Yes.
in Chodalan, the lines are the ones winning the races here.
And you know, in very crucial moments, how they recovered from moments that could have just lost them those races are crucial as well, right? If you're a racer that is able to make those split-second decisions to save your race, you've probably saved yourself a spot for the grand finals. You've probably also picked up that great win for yourself as well. Let's take a quick look at the ladder here for the brackets for the iOS segment, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And Anonyx, as the day off, he had to face the sound of hydrogen, where Anonyx surprisingly could not make the cut, and he would be kicked down to play for that third spot. Extreme met Zenith, and Extreme was able to take 2 games flat. Zenith was kicked down to the bottom. Victor.
Yeah, and in the bottom, both Zenith and Onyx will fight it out for third place, and that time though, Onyx was able to nail it to 2 races in a row there, so he takes the third placing ahead of Zenith. And at least it is a bit of a consolation prize. But honestly, both of us here expected a lot more, given that Onyx was literally killing it during the time attack segment. So perhaps that's going to be something we'll see from him in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And no doubt at all for the 2 best that reached up to the grand finals, Extreme as well as the sound of hydrogen. Unfortunately, the sound of victory for the opposition is all hydrogen will be able to hear, as Extreme took 3 amazing races after dropping the very first one. This was a reverse sweep, if anything, not as great as, taking the first 2 races, but an amazing win nonetheless for Extreme.
Yeah, very well done there. I mean, as a fellow Malaysian as well, I can't be any less happier for him, because he is literally representing us here, and what a way to do so. I mean, showing himself to be very super consistent in his grand finals, has taken basically the perfect line in every single race. So hats off to him, man.
I would go shield off, but then again, I might go to jail.
No, we want you here, man. We still need you here next week, so don't go to jail yet.
Look, we need to say this about Extreme, right? Because how many times did this guy pop up during the highlights of our weekly recap session? Almost non-existent. Okay, this guy did not creep up anywhere. We were seeing champions from all across Asia, and they were hitting crazy times. And this little Malaysian was hiding in some sort of dark corner, pops out at the very last minute and says, the sound of hydrogen. I know you, bro. I raced better than you. And he takes the cake at the end of the day as well.
Well done, man.
Well done. Hats off. No doubt one of the best in Asia so far, and we have got 2 grand winners in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Extreme as well as ASL Gimmick. But is this gonna be the end for all of these races? No way. This is the start of something new, and I'm so excited that finally Asphalt 9 Legends is doing something like this in Asia Pacific.
Yeah, super honored as well to have actually been on this journey together with you. Like, it's been fantastic actually, seeing the level of talent and the amount of potential, I think. Like, surprising to see that a lot of countries actually took part in this, and the racing was no less exciting as well. Like, we're seeing plenty of moments, plenty of thrills, plenty of spills, and I have to say, I'm really satisfied after today.
Likewise, Victor. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is AJ. I'm the Mustachio, down here with the one and only Victor Gax. Thank you so much for joining us on this grand finals for Asphalt 9 Legends. The both of us will catch you the next time we drop in here when these races meet.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up. Level up.